Well, thank you for your opening statement, and we also want to thank the commissioners again for being with us today. And at this time, we will begin questions from the members of the subcommittee, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes. Last month, the FCC released the second version of the Broadband Data Act maps. The first version of this map, while better than previous FCC maps, had significant issues. Madam Chair, what has changed since version 1, and how confident are you in the accuracy of the most recent version so that NTIA can use it to make the state allocations?
Thank you for the question. We have produced the most accurate broadband maps in our nation's history. The old maps we had were light years behind what we have now today. We've got 114 million households we've identified by latitude and longitude, and we have recognized that there are 8.3 million households that have no service. But we are going to continue to work not just with our colleagues at NTIA, but also with state broadband authorities across the country, get their input, get their facts, and make sure that that data keeps on getting better all the time. And we'd certainly be happy to share those changes with you, because it's our goal to produce these maps twice a year under the law. And like I said in my open statement, they will always be improving.
Well, thank you. Commissioner Carr, what's your assessment of the current map?
Well, Chairman Latta, first of all, thank you for your leadership on the Broadband Data Act. We'd had bipartisan recognition for years that our old maps were not fit for purpose for what we needed them to. And the Broadband Data Act you helped get across the finish line ensured that we are where we are today, which is that first version of the map that came out 6 months ago or so. There's a lot of concern with it, but I think all the feedback that I'm seeing in my own analysis of this map shows that it is improved. And as the chair said, it's going to be an iterative process. We need to continue to work with state broadband offices, including to make sure that they're using that map, not just for the initial allocation decision that Commerce will make, but as they decide where the funding can go, because this map can also play a key role in preventing overbuilding and make sure we're targeting unserved areas.
Well, thank you. Madam Chair, since your elevation to the chair of the commission, the FCC has adopted most items by a 4-0 vote. As an independent agency responsible for technical expertise in administrating the Communications Act, it's refreshing to see the commission acting in a bipartisan way without straying too far outside of your authorizing statute or exerting regulatory overreach. Tomorrow, the Senate is considering the nominees that would restore the commission to its full strength of 5 commissioners. Should a 5th commissioner be confirmed, do you commit to continue to pursue an agenda that will maintain the strong bipartisan agreement and practice regulatory restraint, similar to actions taken by the commission under a 2-2 split?
Well, I'm proud of the work we've been able to accomplish as a 4-member agency. Like I said in my opening statement, we've turned down the noise and we've ramped up the work. But I also recognize that Congress intended this body to have 5 members, so I look forward to that day coming sooner rather than later. But we'll continue to operate in a collegial way with every one of my colleagues, no matter who they are and no matter how many we have.
Thank you. Commissioner Carr, since 2020, Congress has provided significant funding for broadband deployment, affordability, distance learning, and telehealth. The USF also funds these activities. How do you view the future of the USF in light of these new programs?
Chairman, thanks for the question. For years, maybe even decades, the FCC's Universal Service Program was the lion's share of all federal support for broadband builds, for digital divide efforts. And now we're seeing a lot of efforts across many other agencies as well. There was a GAO report recently that said that we now have something like 130 programs spread across 15 agencies. So I think the time is ripe right now to make sure that we have a coordinated approach to all these different broadband programs. And I think that can start with a big think about how does USF fit within those other programs. There's some good legislation that would do that, including from members here, Congressman Walberg, Congresswoman Custer, the PLAN Act, which would ensure better coordination across all of that.
Well, thank you. Let me follow up, Commissioner Carr. On July the 17th, participants in the Rip and Replace program were required to submit their first claims for reimbursement. This committee has acted twice, but unless Congress acts before July the 17th, this program will not be fully funded. What will happen if Congress fails to act, and what are the implications for national security and also for rural America?
Yeah, if we don't fully fund Rip and Replace quickly, there's going to be very serious real-world consequences. The insecure gear is going to come out, but the challenge is having the funding for these small providers to replace it. And so in some extreme circumstances, we could even see small rural ISPs and other sort of wireless providers that might be the only option in an area could potentially go out of business. Otherwise, entities could stay in business, but they'd have holes in coverage, which itself is a public safety challenge. So I do think we need to make good on our commitment to all of these providers to fully fund rip and replace.
Well, and it's absolutely essential. And I know we've had a lot of discussions, not only on the subcommittee and full committee, and also with you as the commissioners, but we've got to get this thing done. And I'm looking forward to making sure that as we move things out of the House and get it over to the Senate, that they can bring these things up. My time has expired, and I will submit my extra questions I had that I wasn't able to get to for the later for to be answered. And